world, never as much as when Colin Kaepernick took a knee for the playing of the national anthem for the San Francisco 49ers. Now, this is what's great about having done this as long as I've done it. Now that I've done it more than 15 years, I do have perspective. I know the real reason that Kaepernick originally lost his job, his struggles when he returned. I remember exactly how the flag protest went down. I remember why he didn't get a job with the Seahawks after he had been cut, and why he didn't get a job with the Ravens after he had been cut. So I think all of us, even people like me, that believe that even though it would have been hard for him to sign with a bunch of teams, there's just teams that wouldn't have taken the NFL, there would have been a lot of interest in him had he I don't know, played the game or played his cards right. But there's some things that worked against him, not just injuries, the lack of people that he worked with at a bunch of different places in the NFL. And the one team that had his former offensive coordinator, his girlfriend, screwed him up. That's what happened. Now, if we're going to credit one person for Black Lives Matter kneeling before the national anthem, but you're seeing police officers. Today, investors are extended higher than all business and increasing about return on the real estate backed Class A buildings fund. Bonuses targeted at 18 to 21%. NLIA's 14-year track record and $850 million of new construction prime income producing properties secures you. You can also use your 401k or IRA to invest recycling cash flow right now. Get 10% monthly electronic cash flow with total yields to 18 to 21% right now. Call before this special offer is over. Just call 201-210-2727. That's 201. Selling securities only by a private placement memorandum. Read it first. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. Returns are annualized. National is a real estate development firm. See us at NLIA.net.
WCBS News Time is 2:08. It's time for traffic and weather together on the 8th. Jill Feldman over in the traffic center is keeping an eye on the protesters and their movement. We'll go over to him now.
Yeah, it looks like we've got three separate groups now, Linda. You've got the first group coming out of Washington Square, heading up towards 14th Street and turning towards Union Square Park, and actually passing by Union Square, and looks like they're going towards at least 3rd Avenue. A second group by Lafayette Street at Bleecker Street. You've also got a group on Water Street by the New York Vets Vietnam Veterans Memorial. So three separate groups right now. Lower Manhattan travel, walking and protesting. You do have delays also to watch out for on Park Row and Center Street by Foley Square and City Hall. If you're on the FDR, you've got some northbound getting up towards the RFK Triborough Bridge, also on the southbound side of the Brooklyn River Bronx. Triborough Bridge. About a half an hour to the outbound George and westbound Cross Bronx. Those other approaches are moving well. The Lincoln and the Holland tunnels. Actually, the Holland tunnel delays are starting to build. It's maybe about 5 to 10, but the Lincoln tunnel is looking pretty good. And in New Jersey and Paramus on the eastbound side of Route 4 by Spring Valley Road, you still have a crash there, and a lane is still blocked with that one. Next traffic update less than 10 minutes away on WCBS.
Let's get a check of our weather forecast. We're heading over to the Weather Center to meteorologist Bob Larson.
We'll still find a couple of showers scattered about at this hour. They'll be moving on generally within the hour. We'll stay mostly cloudy tonight. Could be another shower, though, later tonight, even a thunderstorm. Overnight low 63 in the city. Much warmer tomorrow with higher humidity. A mixture of clouds and sunshine, a high up to 84. A couple of showers and thunderstorms are likely again later tomorrow evening. Any storm can be heavy and gusty. Low tomorrow night 68. It's now 65. At Oxford, 75 at Port Washington, 72 at Midtown, the low is 63. Linda?
Thanks, Bob Larson. WCBS News Time is 3:10. Protests have been peaceful in Nassau County. WCBS's Sophia Hall heard from the county executive.
I want to thank all of those who protested peacefully here in Nassau County.
Says Nassau County Executive Laura Curran after the many protests that have taken place here in so thank the police department for keeping people safe. And
let's not let those who are criminally exploiting this pain and this moment, exploiting George Floyd and his family members who are pleading, begging for the violence and the looting to end. Violence against our police or against
Hall, WCBS News Radio 880. Stores at the Roosevelt Field Mall and the Americana Mall in Manhasset have been boarded up. A police dispatcher from New Jersey has resigned over comments he made on Facebook about a young black protester. Mark Rapace responded to a photo of an 8-year-old at a protest in Boston. A boy was holding a sign. WCBS.
See how long
It's a full 24 hours. Its unique delayed release formula blocks heartburn at the source. With just one pill a day, you get 24-hour heartburn protection. Make the switch today. Prilosec OTC. One pill a day, 24 hours, zero heartburn. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat with heartburn.
WCBS News Time is 3:12. Time now for sports. NBA legend Wes Unseld has passed away at the age of 74. His family said he had pneumonia as well as other health issues. Unseld was a 5-time All-Star in 13 seasons with the Baltimore and Washington Bullets. He was an undersized center, but a defensive presence and a ferocious force who averaged double digits in rebounds in all but 1 year of his career. He was named one of the 50 greatest players of all time and was one of 2 players in history to win Rookie of the Year and the Most Valuable Player award in the same year. The Shamrock Series between Notre Dame and Navy that was set for Ireland in late August has been moved to Annapolis because of the pandemic. About 40,000 fans were set to travel from the U.S. for the game. It was set for August 29th, but will now take place Labor Day weekend. WCBS News Time, 3:13.
Optimum's committed to keeping everyone connected, so they're rolling back the price for Optimum's Altice Mobile to just $20 a month for a limited time. That's right, $20 a month. That means you can connect to family, to work, to school, anywhere and everywhere with unlimited data, talk, and text on a nationwide network with 99% coverage. It's reliable, affordable, and you can order online from home. Visit AlticeMobile.com and get Optimum's Altice Mobile for a limited time for just $20 a month. And it's also available for Optimum Business.
Limited time offer. Monthly Caroline charge reflects $5 auto pay discount. Must be Optimum customer. In terms and restrictions apply. See AlticeMobile.com/legal for details.
This Mother's Day was a bit of an afterthought. Check out SuperJewelry.com's After Mother's Day clearance sale. Their lowest prices ever on diamonds and gemstones. SuperJewelry.com will save you up to 80% on fantastic earrings, rings, and pendants, starting at $29. Since 1999, SuperJewelry.com has made millions of people 5-star happy. Go to SuperJewelry.com, click on the clearance banner, and shop away. Up to 80% off now at SuperJewelry.com. That's SuperJewelry.com.
Whether you stop by a locally owned Napa Auto Parts, Napa Auto Care, or visit Napa online, if you need help with your ride, you can count on Napa Know-How.
I didn't feel well, so I searched my symptoms on Google, and now I'm being followed by uncomfortable ads. I hate feeling like my personal data is being bought and sold. I downloaded DuckDuckGo and saw a difference right away. Take back your privacy with DuckDuckGo.
Never more than 15 minutes.
Good afternoon, I'm Linda Lopez. 3 things to know at 3:15. 1, a city curfew will be in effect tonight and every night through Sunday. It starts at 8 p.m. each night. Looting and vandalism on Fulton Road in the Bronx last night and in high-end stores along 5th and Madison Avenues and near Herald Square in Manhattan. Police say nearly 700 people were arrested. 2, Governor Cuomo and Mayor de Blasio are at odds over deployment of the National Guard in New York City. And that the mayor and the NYPD are not doing their job. And 3, Eric Garner's mother, the Reverend Al Sharpton, and other city leaders were in Foley Square today, calling for one concrete change to come from the protests, that legislation criminalizing police chokeholds and creating a standardized system for police penalties be passed. WCBS reporter Marla Diamond says they also denounced the chaos after another night of unrest in the city last night.
Standing in Foley Square, where many of the peaceful protests have begun, the Reverend Al Sharpton called for an end to the violence.
All of us have to live in a police-military state because of that. And I'm extremely disappointed in those that have succumbed our rights in the name of what is going on.
He appeared with Gwen Carr, the mother of Eric Garner, and federal and city lawmakers who want to revive police reform legislation that would criminalize the kinds of chokeholds that contributed to Garner's and George Floyd's death. One of the bill's sponsors, Queens Councilman Donovan Richards, says a lack of action encourages a police culture of brutality and abuse.
We don't need officers to take a knee with us. We need them to keep their knees off our necks.
In Holy Square, Marla Diamond, WCBS News Radio 880.
New York Attorney General Letitia James is threatening to sue President Trump for mobilizing military forces to states to quell the looting that has broken out in the country in the wake of George Floyd's death. Yesterday, the president blasted governors, calling them weak in their response to the protest over George Floyd's death. James said her office would look at any federal action with, quote, an eye toward protecting our state's rights, and she promised to guard the right to peaceful protest. New Jersey Attorney General Gabir Grewal endorsed a statewide licensing program for police officers today.
Just as we license doctors, nurses, lawyers, hundreds of other professions, we must ensure that all officers meet a baseline level of professionalism. And we must ensure that those who cannot meet this standard can't work in New Jersey.
The state will utilize a new database to track the use of force by police officers. Grewal says it will be available by July 1st. The state attorney general also announced they are expanding New Jersey's crisis intervention team training for police to encourage de-escalation. WCBS News Time is 3:18. It's time for traffic and weather. Together on the 8th, it's sponsored by Link Home Care. You gotta think Link. What are you seeing out there, Jim Feldman?
Mass of people on Water Street by Wall Street with one group of protesters there, Linda, another group of protesters getting past Union Square Park onto 14th Street and turning north onto 3rd Avenue. There is also another group of protesters at Washington Square Park. Again, we're going to keep an eye on all of this throughout the afternoon. Long delays as well to watch out for. Now Brooklyn bound on the Brooklyn Bridge and also Manhattan bound exiting onto Center Street. You've got delays also building up outbound side of the Holland Tunnel. It's about 10 to 15 minutes. The Lincoln Tunnel is moving well. GWB, of course, you got the delays in the westbound crosswalks, but not so bad from your other approaches. Into Queens, if you're traveling on the RFK Queens bound, there was a disabled vehicle. That's seeing the leftover delays getting into Queens. Grand Central is moving well throughout Queens. Eastbound LAE is slowing down now, getting to Woodhaven Boulevard and now towards the Clearview. BQE in Brooklyn is also slow on the southbound side between the Williamsburg Bridge and Cabot Plaza. Into New Jersey, northbound side, Tunnelly Avenue bumper between Tunnelly Circle and Manhattan Avenue. Watch for delays too on the westbound side of 280 as you're getting across the Stickle Bridge. Pretty good right now on the Parkway, but westbound Route 3 from the Parkway to that merge point with Route 46 in Clifton, seeing delays building up there. Next traffic update less than 10 minutes away on WCBS.
Link Home Care provides unparalleled home care 24/7 to those in need. They are not just another agency. Link is family, serving all 5 boroughs to make the transition to home care smooth and easy for everyone. Visit linkhomecare.com to learn more. Link Home Care. You've got to think Link.
Let's see what our 5-day forecast is going to be like. Here's meteorologist Bob Larson.
Considerable cloudiness tonight with a shower around late at night, even a stray thunderstorm. Low 63, much warmer tomorrow and more humid. Intervals of clouds inside high 84. Couple of showers and a thunderstorm to the area tomorrow afternoon and early tomorrow night. Any storm could be strong and gusty later tomorrow night. Partly cloudy, warm and sticky. Low 68. Thursday very warm, but not quite as humid. Partly sunny, high 85. Friday very warm and humid again. Chance for a thunderstorm for the afternoon, high 87. Looking ahead to Saturday, quite warm but sticky with a mix of clouds and sun. Maybe a couple of thunderstorms in the area, especially in the afternoon and evening. Saturday's high 86.
Hi.
How are you?
Hey, all set. Thank you.
All right.
To the local chapter of the Sons of Confederate Veterans. It's been a flashback for years. Temperature and diffuse any problems. They don't want the flag to be an excuse for vandalism. Peter King, CBS News, Orlando.
The mayor of Birmingham, Alabama, ordered a Confederate monument that was targeted by demonstrators protesting the death of George Floyd to be taken down in defiance of state law. The base of the 115-year-old Confederate soldiers and sailors monument was covered in spray paint. Demonstrators also toppled a statue of Charles Lynn, Confederate States Navy captain during the Civil War. The statue symbolized the battle between the city of Birmingham and Alabama state officials. The music industry will observe a global day of solidarity today to protest the police killing of George Floyd. CBS News correspondent Vicki Barker has more on Blackout Tuesday from Monday.
Here in Britain, a number of broadcast networks have altered their programming schedules to mark Blackout Tuesday. Multiple recording labels have answered the call to go silent today to create space for people here to reflect on George Floyd's death.
Organizers say the initiative is not a one-day event. A long-term plan of action will be announced soon. WCBS News Time, it's 3:22.
Since 1984, AmericanEagle.com, a family-owned web developer with over 500 technology professionals, has helped their clients weather many economic uncertainties. AmericanEagle.com knows how to leverage today's technology, delivering solutions for e-learning, remote business communications, e-commerce, and digital health. Every organization's potential. Their world-class data center hosts thousands of websites and millions of transactions. In times like these, a reliable partner has never been more important. AmericanEagle.com provides a full range of integration, including web design, system integration, digital marketing, and hosting. This too shall pass. We will be stronger when the crisis subsides, and AmericanEagle.com is committed to building your organization's digital presence, driving growth and opportunity. Call AmericanEagle.com at 877-WebNow1. 877-WebNow1. Satellite? It's the dynamite for horses. They're always on the move. Always needed. Crazy. 17 to 20 hours a day.
They're not going to be taking only grass.
And sure, pasture or plain.
The nice big pasture, the very green,
The grasses and the different plants.
that's your basic forage.
I don't think there's anywhere on the planet where you have consistent, healthy pasture all year.
No, we start supplementing with the hay and the green. The green has a lot of sugars in it, and the hay, the dried out hay, there's a lot of nutrients.
During under the sun, it loses about 80% of the baby carotene, omega-3s, and vitamin E.
So attitude on how to freeze dry the green mix of the grass.
I said,
It's simple, it's straightforward, but if you see what you need, I think you'll immediate results.
check out new Dynamite for horses at Dynamite.com.
It doesn't take much to boil over soup. They get my Dynamite from DINOVITE.com.
WCBS News Time is 3:25. It's time for Money News Now, sponsored by T-Mobile for Business. And from the Sunwave Gas-Powered Business Desk, here's underperforming. Worries about unrest issues have not pushed the stock averages negative. The Dow is up 121. The Nasdaq is up 5. The S&P 7. One money manager says the markets are focused on the idea things are getting better. The Bloomberg WCBS Land Rover Tri-State Business Index is up 1.25% after their shares leading gains there. The pandemic has supercharged the battle over business computing. Microsoft is ramping up that competition, looking to push an operating system that would help sell its other products, and it swooped in with Microsoft Teams for places like the city school system that wanted to. When Zoom was getting hacked, it snapped up that business. A technical error may have led to a big mistake. Reuters reports caused a lot of small businesses to get loans twice or more under the federal aid program designed to help businesses hurt by the pandemic. With Money News at 25 and 55 on WCBS, I'm Bloomberg's Joan Donovan. T-Mobile and Sprint are joining forces to power your business. We're building a 5G network that will deliver unprecedented reach and reliability in the highest capacity in history. With more coverage and more bandwidth to keep your employees connected, you'll get the largest and most reliable network at an unbeatable price. T-Mobile for Business. Visit T-MobileForBusiness.com to learn more. It's time
Second is keep those Certico painters. Your home and your safety are important. That's why Certico painters are doing free on-site or remote estimates for painting the outside or inside of your home. You can just show them from your phone. Painting. Certico painters will adhere to all recommended precautions to keep your family and their painting crew safe. Schedule your free estimate online at Certico.com. That's Certico with a C. It's Certico Painters Business. Independently owned and operated. Certico Painters, proven and trusted experts in painting. For the ones we trust to always be there. For the ones, Eric. For the ones who keep things going, no matter where they are. In extraordinary times, extraordinary people step up. Like the ones standing guard and standing on the front lines. And the ones who are standing apart while still working together. With your efforts, we will get through this. We're grateful for all you do. Visit Granger.com for resources that can help as you create your recovery plan. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your home, motorcycle, commercial auto, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com.
DuckDuckGo can help. They help millions of people like you take control of their personal information online. With one download, you can search and browse privately, avoiding trackers, all for free. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified. Definitely avoid Lower Manhattan for the time being. You've got lots of street closures and delays through the area. Canal Street's also jammed up as well as you're making your way both to the Manhattan Bridge and also to the entrance ramp to the Holland Tunnel. Quickly on Brooklyn Bridge, it is just bumper to bumper exiting at Cadman Plaza. The Laser Building in Queens on the eastbound LIE as you're making your way towards Woodhaven Boulevard. Grand Central definitely moving much better. FDR is also slow northbound between the 59th Street Bridge up towards 9th Street. On the west side, Henry Hudson's a little slow now northbound getting out of Ramsey to the outbound George. Still about a half an hour on the westbound Cross Bronx. Still about 20 minutes southbound at the Holland Tunnel. The Lincoln Tunnel is actually the best bet if you're heading into New Jersey right now. And in New Jersey, driving towards Spring Valley Road, still have a crash there. Now, forecast from the WCBS Weather Center.
We'll say Friday tonight, a spotty shower or two. Carolina, late night thunderstorm, 63. Warmer tomorrow and more humid. Mixture of clouds and sunshine, high up to 84. The other lighter showers and potentially heavy thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon. And for evening, quite humid tomorrow night. It looks to be rain-free and a little less humid, but very warm. Partly sunny on Thursday, high up to 85. Very warm and more humid again on Friday, but Thursday an afternoon or evening thunderstorm. Friday's high 87. Headed upper 80s once again.
New York, they'll be sent there too, because you gotta maintain law and order and protect innocent people and innocent property. People deserve better.
It's 3:30 at News Radio 810 and 103.1 WGY. I'm Diane Donato. New York State Legislature to meet to discuss criminal justice reform, and some looters may find themselves tracked by high tech. Your top stories in 1 minute, but first, traffic and weather. This report is sponsored by Stop the Spread of Coronavirus.
It's starting off with a problem in Latham, a stall on the northway south, but at exit 7 for Route 7, that's on the right shoulder. In Albany, road work on the thruway northbound between exit 23 and 24 in the left lane. And on the thruway southbound, exit 24 to 23, that is right lane road work causing a minor delay. In the WGY Price Chopper Market 32 Traffic Center, I'm Susie Sterling.
The coronavirus pandemic is deadly serious. Everyone must do their part to help stop the spread. Stay home. Do not get in groups for any reason. You may have it and not even know it. If you must leave your home, cover your face and stay at least 6 feet away from others. Follow your state's guidelines for the health and safety of everyone. WGY AccuWeather forecast for tonight, partly cloudy with a couple of showers in the low 57. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, a shower or thunderstorm around in the high 78. Thursday, partly sunny in the high 84. 67 degrees, mostly cloudy at News Radio 810 and 103.1 WGY. And one traffic addition just in Waterville, contractors have hit a gas main on Broadway between 4th and 6th Streets. Roads are temporarily closed to traffic. That may cause some interruption to service as well. Now, our top story, the state legislature will meet next week on criminal justice reform. We'll get more on that from WGY's Mike Patrick.
One statute they'll be taking a close look at is a provision in the state civil rights law known as 50A, which has been used by police departments to keep the public from having access to the disciplinary records of officers. Lawmakers are also planning to discuss several other proposals, including the creation of a special prosecutor's office to help with investigations in the cases where police are accused of killing unarmed people. Mike Patrick, News Radio 810, 103.1 WGY.
Governor Cuomo blasting New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio, who refused help from the National Guard to deal with looters. Governor Cuomo says Mayor de Blasio and the NYPD failed to protect businesses and the public from looting and other criminal activity last night. Cuomo also drawing a distinction.
I believe the mayor underestimates the scope of the problem. I think he underestimates the duration of the problem. And I don't think they've used enough police to address the situation.
There were some 700 people. Police had to use tear gas in an effort to try to calm the rioters. There were several arrests. Yesterday afternoon, there was a peaceful protest at the corner of Livingston Ave and Henry Johnson Boulevard. Apple is tracking its iPhones that have been stolen during lootings. When a stolen phone is booted up, a message says the phone has been disabled and should be returned to the store. It goes on to say that the phone is being tracked and local authorities will be alerted. Looters broke into Apple stores in New York, Los Angeles, and Washington, D.C. WGY News Time is 3:34. Our next news update at 4. I'm Diane Donato. The Sean Hannity Show continues in less than 3 minutes on News Radio 810 and 103.1 WGY. The Capital Region's breaking news, traffic, and weather station.
In an uncertain economy, there's something every American ought to have. Real, honest U.S. gold money. And now it's possible to get some specially priced from Commute.com. Just call 1-800-473.
For inexcusable and disgraceful showing there are 36,000 cops. Get them out on the street, get them to the hotspot, protect the property in the city of New York, and he was very vocal about it and very pointed in his criticism.
And the mayor and governor seem to be at odds about whether or not to send in the National Guard. Can the governor supersede the mayor and send Guard troops in anyway?
Well, it sounds like the government thinks the city needs their help. There's no question about that. The way Cuomo describes it, that his option is to displace the mayor, test his with his place, basically take over the city, take over the local government, bring in the Guard, and the governor says, well, not at that point now, but suspicion is he is not seriously considering that, but just to wonder what's going on here and why these two can't communicate a little bit better.
I think you said it best earlier when you said the Cold War there is heating up. Well, today, just like the past several days, there have been thousands of protesters in the streets. What was Governor Cuomo's message for them?
Cuomo said that the people who are protesting about George Floyd's death are having their message hijacked by the folks who are getting involved in criminal activity. So what he says is, protest peacefully, don't cause trouble, let the cops focus on the vandals and the looters so they don't thwart the peaceful protesters, and when the curfew comes at 8 o'clock, get inside, that'll make things easier for the cops, and that will give them a better chance at maintaining order.
WCBS reporter Peter Haskell with the latest from Governor Cuomo. WCBS News Time is 3:36.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-777-1979. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-777-1979. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-777-1979. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou is like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-777-1979. 800-777-1979.
For many people, prioritizing safety is part of the new normal. But for the physicians at orthopedic and neurosurgery specialists, exceeding standards for patient safety has been their normal for more than 20 years. As non-urgent medical care resumes, people with painful muscle or joint conditions can trust that ONS has put in place social distancing and infection prevention protocols so patients can focus on getting the care they need and on their recovery. From using masks and temperature and symptom screenings to parking lot waiting areas and more, the team at ONS has taken their platinum standard for patient-centered care to the next level. And ONS telehealth gives patients the option to have face-to-face access to their doctor without leaving home. Call 800-999-9ONS to schedule a visit with a physician who specializes in your condition, or make an appointment online at onsmd.com. That's onsmd.com. Safe patient-centered care at ONS. That's nothing new. That's normal. WCBS News Time is 3:38, and traffic and weather together on the 8th is sponsored by ONS. We still have huge protests going on in a few parts of the city, so we head right over now to Jim Feldman.
Yeah, that is definitely correct, Linda. The first group we've got at Pearl Place right under the Brooklyn Bridge. There is another group marching north on 3rd Avenue from 14th Street. If you're on the Verrazano Bridge right now, we've got word of an accident Brooklyn bound on the upper level. Up to 2 lanes are blocked there. And in New Jersey, in Paramus, eastbound Route 4 at Spring Valley Road, a crash there still being cleared. That's traffic update less than 10 minutes away on WCBS.
And our weather forecast now, here's meteorologist Bob Larson.
Mainly cloudy tonight with a shower and thunderstorm around, especially late at night, low 63. Much warmer tomorrow with higher humidity. Intervals of clouds and sunshine, a high temperature of 84. Expect a couple of showers and thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon and evening. Any storm can bring in downpour and gusty winds. Later tomorrow night, partly cloudy, quite humid, a low of 68. A little less humid on Thursday, partly sunny and warm, high 85 up to 87 Friday, when there could be an afternoon thunderstorm.
It's 69 degrees right now in West Milford, 74 in Deer Park. Here in Manhattan, it's mostly cloudy and 71 degrees. WCBS News Time is 3:40. Speaking on the Senate floor this morning, Minority Leader Chuck Schumer slammed President Trump for driving peaceful demonstrators away from the White House Monday evening with tear gas and rubber bullets in order to stage what Schumer called a photo op at St. John's Episcopal Church, while the president was holding a Bible.
We fear for the future of our country, and in this time of immense difficulty, our president is only capable of contributing more division, more fear, more chaos.
Schumer says the Defense Department Inspector General should probe the treatment of protesters outside the White House. Meanwhile, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi will act quickly to pass legislation on police brutality and racial profiling. And New York Congressman Gerald Nadler says he'll hold hearings to formulate ideas.
We will be carefully evaluating a wide range of strong proposals with the goal of putting smart, effective, and targeted legislation on the House floor.
And people continue to express their outrage over the death of George Floyd at rallies and protests across the country. Minnesota State House Speaker Melissa Hortman spoke at a rally in St. Paul, saying an unjust system should be dismantled.
It is my job to first listen, second stand back and create space for leaders to come from the
people of color. The state of Minnesota has filed civil rights charges against the Minneapolis Police Department in George Floyd's death. 6 Atlanta police officers are facing excessive use of force charges amid protests. CBS News correspondent.
And coming up next, to be a vaccine totally within your control. Your personal information, on the other hand, that's another story. Because when you shop, bank, or browse online, your personal information gets out there, and you can lose control of it, exposing you to cybercrime. But you can get back a sense of control over how to help protect yourself and your personal information. Thankfully, the Norton 360 with LifeLock is an all-in-one membership for your cyber safety with device security, identity theft protection, a VPN for online privacy, and more. Plus, if there's an identity theft problem, they have agents who will work to fix it. Now, no one can prevent all cybercrime and identity theft. The Norton 360 with LifeLock is a powerful ally to help protect you in today's connected world. Sign up today for a Norton 360 with LifeLock membership and save 25% or more off your first year by going to norton.com/Doug. Go to norton.com/Doug. That's norton.com/Doug for 25% off.
Foot odor throwing off your game? Stick to a winning game plan with Odor Eaters. Featuring 3 advanced odor and wetness fighters, the lineup provides long-lasting odor control plus more to keep your feet on their game. Odor Eaters powder provides outstanding moisture control. Clear drying spray is the MVP in preventing athlete's foot, while insoles work continuously to manage wetness while adding a layer of comfort. Pick up today at Walmart, Target, CVS, Dollar General, or other fine retailers. Odor Eaters. Destroy foot odor with the best in odor defense.
Here at AutoZone, we're all about helping you get what you need to keep life moving. Like for that next oil change. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Pennzoil Platinum full synthetic motor oil, an STP extended life oil filter, and a Monster Energy drink, all for just $33.99. And if you need something fast, you can get it fast your way. Whether it's next day delivery or free same day pickup, in-store or curbside, the choice is yours. Get in the zone. AutoZone. Restrictions and details at AutoZone.com.
For the ones we trust to always be there. For the ones caring for others. For the ones who keep things going, no matter where they are. In extraordinary times, extraordinary people step up, like the ones standing guard and standing on the front lines. And the ones who are staying apart while still working together. With your efforts, we will get through this. We're grateful for all you do. Visit Granger.com for resources that can help as you create your recovery plan. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up spills and messes quicker, and it's 2 times more absorbent than the leading ordinary brand, so you can get back to getting caught in the rain. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Capital One knows life doesn't alert you about your credit card.
Hey, got surfers, we've got non-stop tunes to keep you rocking while you work. Okay, calling, yes, you're calling with a K. Your free trial of Movie Plus ends tomorrow, and your card may be charged. Do you want to continue or cancel?
So we Eno, the Capital One assistant. Eno looks out for surprise charges, like when free trials expire. It helps if you need to fix them. Eno, another way Capital One is watching out for your money when you're not. Capital One, what's in your wallet? Limitations apply. As a doctor, I am very excited by the work that the Foundation Fighting Blindness is doing to end blindness. Age-related macular degeneration is a leading cause of vision loss in people 55 and older. But it doesn't have to be that way. The Foundation Fighting Blindness can help by providing valuable information about diagnosing and treating AMD. In order to end blindness, you should learn more about vision-saving preventions and treatments. Learn how to save your vision or the vision of a loved one. Call the Foundation Fighting Blindness today at 1-800-BLINDNESS for a free packet on reversing and managing AMD. Or go to the website fightblindness.org where you can find so much helpful information. Call 1-800-BLINDNESS today. That number again is 1-800-BLINDNESS or fightblindness.org. Help end blindness by calling the Foundation Fighting Blindness today at 1-800-BLINDNESS for a free packet on reversing or managing AMD.
Dad, guess what? What? You are going to be a grandfather.
That's great. You're going to be a wonderful mom, and I can't wait to be a grandpa. Not too long ago, Moments like this for my daughter would have been a challenge. It was a long road for me to find myself again after Vietnam. I struggled to connect with almost everyone and preferred being alone. It was my neighbor Jim, another Vietnam veteran, who finally convinced me that I could still connect with my family and find that fulfilling life I'd lost. In fact, I called Jim first with the news about my granddaughter, Lizzie. Hey, Jim, I'm going to be a grandfather. Congratulations, Dave. Hey, let's get together and celebrate. As long as you're not grilling. My pride was my armor, but I didn't know it then. I couldn't put it into words. I was sad, I was scared, I felt alone. I didn't know how to reach out, so I hid behind anger and silence. But then I decided to listen to Jim, and I went for help down at the VA. If I can take that first step after almost 50 years, I know other veterans can too. Visit maketheconnection.net to find out more.
Fox Sports 980, now on 95.9 FM. To find FS1 on your television, go to foxsports.com for details. FS1. Broadcasting live from the studios of Fox Sports Radio, here's Doug Gottlieb.
Doug Gottlieb Show, Fox Sports Radio. Let's get to a game.
This is game time. The Doug Gottlieb Show.
Dan Meyer, what's the game today?
Doug, the game today is rank up.
All right, Doug, rank your 3 best game total scenarios for a Major League Baseball season in 2020.
We have seen, or we've heard 50 numbers, 50 games. We've heard 82. We've heard 114. What are the best 3 game total scenarios that you see?
I'd say 114 is third. I just think they'd just be so taxed by the time they get to the playoffs. Just too many doubleheaders, too many games. 50 is 2. 50 could be amazing. Which is amazing level. It's like, what if an NBA season was only half the number of, even less, half the number of games less, like how hard would they play? And 82, half a season. I think that works out. I just think, is it ideal? No, none of this is ideal. But that at least gives us some perspective on what the numbers would have been like. It's easy for the math in our head.
I was thinking in a 50-game season, we'd look back and be like, remember when Max Scherzer won 7 games in 2020? That was amazing. That was Mike Trout hit 564 that season. That was nuts. Doug, rank your top.
Mike Trout's usually a hot starter too. That's actually kind of what I'm most excited about as an Angel fan. Like, you know, if you're usually a hot starter and you only play 50 games, 30 games in, he'll be hitting 600.
Sure. Doug, rank your top 3 tight ends right now in the National Football League.
I'm going to put so many good ones. I'll put Austin Hooper at 3, Travis Kelce at 2, and George Kittle at 1. With full respect to Mark Andrews, Zach Ertz, Evan Ingram, Hunter Henry, Darren Waller, and even Gronk. I just haven't seen Gronk in a year. Don't know what he's going to look like. Gronk would be, prime Gronk would be the best of any of these guys. Any of them. But I'm going to go with Gronk off the top 3.
To be playing in Annapolis, Maryland, and not in Dublin, Ireland. Doug, rank your 3 favorite rivalries that Notre Dame has or had. Okay, there's been a lot of them.
Everybody's rival. Okay, so 3 is going to be Michigan. 2 is going to be USC. And 1 is going to be Florida State, mostly because it's convicts versus the Catholics, right?
No, that was Miami.
Miami?
Yeah. Catholics versus convicts.
Yeah, they were free shoes either, right? Okay, so we'll go Miami.
The t-shirt. I've never heard of Free Shoes U.
Yeah, that was FSU, Free Shoes U.
Oh, that's good. Doug, rank the 3 NBA teams that would benefit the most from 22 teams being allowed to resume their season. They're basically 6 teams that wouldn't have made the playoffs. Blazers, Pelicans, Kings, Spurs, Suns, and Wizards would have the next best record.
rate them and who benefits the most?
Wizards 3 because the possibility of getting back John Wall, right? That is possible. Pelicans 2 because you get Zion and he'd be in the playoffs and it'd be fun. And one is the Blazers. You got Damian Lillard, they'd be healthy. And and
Zach Collins.
Yeah, I think that's the number one because they're a legit playoff team. That was just they didn't play well, and then they had the injury bug, and they wouldn't have made the playoffs. I'll put the Blazers at 1.
This is game time.
I actually like your last question best. So marker, highlighter, and paint.
I love reading paints. I'm such a big marker highlighter guy.
I like markers and highlighters, but there's something about writing in a pencil.
Ooh, interesting.
I really enjoy a pencil. I hate writing them. My hand hurts because I'm so soft. Are the Cowboys as good as everyone continues to say their roster is? We'll discuss next. You check things all the time. Your email, your ex's IG. But I'm not checking something as important as your credit. Discover makes it quick and easy and best of all, free. Discover is now offering FICO credit scores, a score used by 90% of top lenders, for free, even if you're not a customer. Checking your score won't hurt your credit, and you can check each month for changes. The Discover Credit Scorecard, free to everyone. Learn more at discover.com/credit scorecard. Limitations apply.
Has this ever happened to you? I bought football tickets for my husband's birthday. Football bubble. All I see online are articles and ads about football. I hate feeling like I'm being manipulated. I downloaded DuckDuckGo, and I saw a difference right away. With one download, you can search and browse privately, avoiding trackers. All for free. It's that simple. Take back your privacy online with DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified. This report is sponsored by CBS. A stall in Saratoga Springs on the Northway North at exit 13 for Route 9. Pretty much off onto the left shoulder, so please watch out as you make your way through the area. Doing okay as far as accidents this afternoon. Roadwork continues in Albany on the Thruway North and southbound around exit 24. One lane out in either direction. In a WTY Price Chapel Market 32 Traffic Center, I'm Susie Sterone. CVS Pharmacy delivers, and right now, to meet the needs of the current health situation, they're offering free 1 to 2 day delivery of prescriptions and other store essentials. Visit CVS.com or call your local CVS pharmacy to get started. Restrictions apply.
These days, being a small business means navigating uncertainty in a constantly changing situation. So if you're looking for one trusted source that will keep you informed daily, visit the iHeartRadio Small Business Crisis Resource. There you'll find small business resources to help you get through this, including the latest info on loans, grants, and other forms of relief. You'll also see stories about small businesses making a difference. So let's get through this together. Visit iHeart.com/smallbusiness today. That's iHeart.com/smallbusiness.
You check things all the time, like your email every 10 seconds, or your ex's Instagram. But what about checking something as important as your credit? Well, Discover makes it quick, easy, and best of all, free. Discover is now offering FICO credit scores, the score used by 90% of top lenders, for free, even if you're not a customer. Checking your score won't hurt your credit, and you can check each month for changes, always for free. The Discover Credit Scorecard, free for everyone. Learn more at discover.com/credit scorecard. Limitations apply.
To help keep your home up and running, the Home Depot has the appliance help you can count on. Download the Home Depot app or visit homedepot.com to search for savings on top brands like Samsung, with ratings and reviews to give you confidence, special buy savings, and free delivery. You'll get the appliances you need to keep your home running without even leaving. The Home Depot. How doers get more done. Free delivery on purchases of $3.96 or more. Continental U.S. only.
When you need auto parts, O'ReillyAuto.com is just a few clicks away. We offer convenient options for you to get your parts quickly. Order online and pick up for free at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store. We'll even bring it out curbside. Or you can have your parts delivered right to your door with free shipping on most orders over $35. Visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
Auto Parts.
I'm Jason Plum, founding board member of the Innocence Project. My new podcast is Wrongful Conviction, available on iHeartRadio. On Wrongful Conviction, I interview a different exoneree every week and help them to tell their incredible stories of tragedy
freedom. One of the best ways to say thank you is to volunteer to support them. At a time in history where kindness is a virtue, volunteering at a therapy bag event, teaching a craft class, or simply helping veterans at a hospital means a lot. For over 47 years, Help Heal Veterans, a not-for-profit organization with the support of citizens like you, has created, manufactured, and distributed therapeutic art and crafts projects for our veterans and military at no charge to them. As a national veteran service organization, Help Heal Veterans supports VA hospitals, patients at home, and our active military. Together, Help Heal Veterans and volunteers like you have delivered over 32 million therapy kits to injured and recovering veterans. To volunteer or learn more, visit healvets.org. That's healvets.org.
This is WOFX Troy, WGY FM HD2 Albany, W240 DC Albany.
4 o'clock at News Radio 810 and 103.1 WGY. I'm Jim Gagliardi. Arrests from last night's late-night violence in Albany, and late word coming in from the town of Colony concerning the curfew. Top stories in a minute. First, traffic and weather.
This report is sponsored by Star Roofing and Restoration. A stall in Saratoga Springs on the Northway North and at exit 13 for Route 9, pretty much off onto the left shoulder, so please watch out as you make your way through the area. Doing okay as far as accidents this afternoon. Roadwork continues in Albany on the Thruway North and southbound around exit 24, one lane out in either direction. In the WGY Price Chopper Market 32 Traffic Center, I'm Susie Sterone.
The new roof you need? Now is the time to call Star Roofing, celebrating their 23rd anniversary this year. Call Star Roofing now and ask how you can get a free upgrade to a lifetime shingle roofing system with a 50-year extended warranty. Call 518-449-3422 or starroofing.net. The WGY AccuWeather forecast. Cloudy skies for tonight with showers. Tonight's low 57. Mostly cloudy skies in the capital region tomorrow with a shower or thunderstorm around a high 80. Partial sunshine Thursday. Thursday we'll see a high of 84. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm Drew Shannon on News Radio 810 and 103.1 WGY.
Clouds, some dim sun, temperature at 70 degrees at News Radio 810 and 103.1 WGY. Total of 11 arrests made stemming from last night's violence in the city of Albany. The day started with peaceful protests on Henry Johnson Boulevard in the area of the Albany Police Department headquarters. Albany Mayor Kathy Sheehan, with a 7:30 news conference this morning, describes last night's events from what she termed a hostile crowd toward police.
It became very clear that there was, this was a no-win situation for this police department. They were asked not only to kneel, but to have everyone come out of the building, to have everyone put down their weapons, to, the demands kept escalating to the point where it really became a pretty unsafe situation.
Police had to use tear gas. 9 people arrested for charges, including rioting. 2 others charged with breaking in and stealing from the Family Dollar store on Central Avenue. Now, last night about 8:35, Colony Police putting a curfew in effect from 9 o'clock until 6 this morning. We've just received word from town of Colony officials that the curfew will go back into effect at 9 o'clock tonight and stay into effect every night from 9 until 6 until Sunday. Colony residents are urged to stay home and off the streets. No unnecessary travel permitted during this time frame. No person should be in a public place other than emergency personnel and those required to perform essential services. So again, a curfew in effect in the town of Colony in effect from 9 o'clock tonight until 6 o'clock on Sunday morning. So those are the hours that the curfew is in effect. After 6 o'clock, everything okay there. Governor Cuomo urging residents to come together and unite in the face of the dual crisis now facing us, given the civil unrest that exists now alongside the COVID-19 pandemic.
Keep in mind, during this moment, when you're going out to protest, we're still in the middle of the COVID pandemic.
Following a night of riots in New York City last night, Cuomo said New York City's police force failed to protect businesses and the public from looting and other criminal activity. And he says New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio refused help from the National Guard. Over 700 people arrested last night in New York City. Now some good news from the governor.
The governor saying the team of international experts has reviewed the numbers and information for the capital region and confirmed it is safe to proceed here in the capital region with phase 2 of reopening beginning tomorrow. Cuomo saying as more businesses begin to reopen in the next phase, residents should remain responsible and diligent, continue to follow all social distancing and other public health guidelines to help prevent an increase in the spread of coronavirus. Republican Party officials looking for a new venue for the GOP convention planned for late August. Politico reports they're looking to move the convention to Nashville, Las Vegas, Orlando, or Jacksonville. The Republican National Convention scheduled for Charlotte, North Carolina. The Democratic Governor Roy Cooper is insisting that party officials demonstrate how they can safely put on the event if the coronavirus outbreak is still raging. And a downtown Albany restaurant well known for its French cuisine and for serving roast goose every holiday season will not reopen after coronavirus restrictions are lifted on restaurants later this month. La Serre on Green Street opened in 1977. Founder and longtime owner Ann Trimble told the Times-Union, "We have no regrets. 43 years is a long time." On Wall Street, just before the close, all positive numbers. Dow up 253, NASDAQ up 49, S&P 500 up 22. WGY News Time coming up to 4:06. Our next update at 4:30. I'm Jim Gagliardi. More Sean Hannity in a minute. On News Radio 810 and 103.1 WGY. Capital Region's breaking news, traffic and weather station.
Everyone's got advice on how to protect your health right now. Hi, I'm Rick Edelman. What I want to do is show you how you can protect your wealth right now for you and your family. First,
with the exception really of high school, where we did have a very diverse group of kids. You know, we had black kids, we had Egyptian kids, Armenian kids. I was a white kid, obviously. Some other, white Jewish kid. There's other white Christian kids. Pretty diverse team, but that was the least, that Notre Dame, the two least diverse teams I ever played on. I feel like I do have all of this. But until you experience life in somebody else's shoes, or until you understand, try and see things from their perspective, it's always going to be a mess. So today is Blackout Tuesday. I'm usually very involved social media-wise. You can see clips. We at Fox Sports Radio decided, and just so you know, personally, me, Ramos, Bayer, music, we all agree with. It's not like we're going kicking and screaming. We all believe in, hey, let's do Blackout Tuesday. Let's show solidarity. But I'm just kind of doing some self-examination, and I would say one of the things that I struggle with as a human being of this earth, right, even as a father, is understanding other people's perspective who haven't lived the life that I've lived. But I will tell you this. If you know somebody who you feel like is a racist or has thoughts that you're uncomfortable with, racial bias thoughts, I believe that's bad parenting. Now look, there's messages on TVs and messages and computers and internet and jokes can be had and whatever, and human nature of fear and not understanding people that look different than you, eat different food than you, from a different part of the country, whatever reason your fear gets in your head and causes you to, I understand. I can only tell you that in my household, when I was a kid, and I do this with my kid, it was just not acceptable. Just not acceptable. So much of this is about nurturing our kids. What do you teach them? What do they understand? Doug Gottlieb Show here on Fox Sports Radio. All right, let's get to sports. Troy Aikman, of course, is a Hall of Famer. He is our lead analyst for the National Football League. He just called the Super Bowl in Miami. And he has been probably the biggest and most prominent champion of Dak Prescott in terms of what Dak Prescott's value is. And it's interesting because I think that he was rightfully and smartly at times critical of Dak's play. On the other hand, he's backed it up by saying, like, look, this is kind of the reality of sports and how you really see things. You can make bad throws and not be a bad quarterback. You can improve as a player. You can not win games, but play well or be improving as a player. And sometimes it is the coaching. Sometimes it is the offensive line. It's not always the quarterback. Here's Troy Aikman on the Doomsday Podcast talking about the Cowboys roster and Dak Prescott.
This is a team that really needs to go prove it out there on the field, and they're talented enough. As I said earlier, comparing the Cowboys with the other teams that we cover across the league, and I saw virtually all of them doing the Thursday night package as well as the Sunday package for Fox. The Cowboys are as talented as any team in the NFL. There's very few coaches, I believe, that wouldn't have swapped teams with the Cowboys.
So I guess the question becomes, if what Troy is saying is accurate, and I have no reason to believe that Troy doesn't believe and doesn't have accuracy, that the Cowboys have this really talented roster. Are we simply to say they didn't win last year because of coaching? Like, are we putting it all on Jason Garrett? Because that's kind of sort of what it feels like. And are we to believe that Mike McCarthy, who fell out of favor in Green Bay, took a year off, is going to come in and immediately that changes things? You know, Chris Carter used to work with us here at Fox. He's a good friend, and he had a great saying. And it was, money doesn't change you, it makes you more of who you are. Right? And I kind of think that's what the Cowboys are noticing. Like, Amari Cooper's a really good player. Is he a superstar? I don't think the answer is yes. And now you've paid him. That's not going to change him. That's going to make him more of who he is. Ezekiel Elliott, stud running back. But is he capable of carrying an entire team? Money doesn't. That money makes you more of who you are. And that's where we are with Dak. Look, I'm not blind. I understand. To replace Dak, you're really hard. Just is. He's got sweat equity. He either doesn't get hurt or plays hurt. They did have some huge games last year. They did statistically have the #1 offense in the sport. But by paying him, are you expecting to get some sort of different result? Because again, to take from Chris Carter, money doesn't change you, it makes you more of who you are. Now I know when he's saying that, he's talking about personality quirks and off the field stuff and so on and so forth. But money doesn't change you, it makes you more of who you are. And Dak, while good, not great, paying him money of a great quarterback, not going to change it. This is going to be fascinating. When you have Troy Aikman saying, Jerry, this is the right thing to do. If you don't do it, and you fail, then what? Because I do think, well, you don't want to pay him just because Troy says to pay him. You don't want to pay him just because fans say to pay him. You want to pay him just because, well, everybody else is paying him. You don't want to do that. I do think you need to have reasonable expectations on who he is, how he can produce. And then you look around that division, the great benefit in what they're doing is there's still two teams which I don't feel like are super competitive in that division. Right? Skins aren't there yet. Skins are like at least a year away, and the Giants are at least a year away. The Eagles, who of course beat them last year with Rummies at wide receiver, they split with them. The Eagles are legit competition. Music, what's your take on what Troy had to say in regards to the overall level of talent with the Cowboys?
I think it's personally been slightly overrated. Now, obviously, Troy probably knows much better than I do, and he probably talks to a lot of people that know much better than I do. I just tend to fall back on the saying that you often use with, I believe it was Bill Parcells, you are what your record says you are. And everyone continues to say how great this Cowboys roster is, yet they only managed to win one playoff game throughout this entire set of time that it's been Dak and Zeke's team. Now, I get that likely they are trying to put that blame on Jason Garrett, and Garrett, over the course of 3 seasons, became a totally incompetent head coach. It's sort of what you say, like, we give Dak credit for when we say he's a winner, but then we don't ever give him credit for when they don't win. Like, I don't see...
LeBron thing, we did it with LeBron.
Right. So I just tend to fall into the line of, I truly don't think they're as good as everyone seems to say they are.
I think look, the offensive line you go back 3 or 4 years ago was the most dominant. When he went 13 games, it was a dominant offensive line. They're not there anymore, right? You've had retirement. You've had Travis Frederick has his injury as well. That, it was 2 years ago. Tyron Smith was hurt. More than anything, this is not a static environment. You don't have the best offensive line in football 3 years ago and think, or 3 years later, it's still the best offensive line. It's still really good. Is it as dominant? I think the answer is no. I do think Ezekiel Elliott should be at his peak this year. I do think Amari Cooper should be at his peak this year. But I tend to agree with you. This whole thought of they have better players than everybody else, I don't think that's the case. I think that's the Cowboys' name building up the image of these players. I do.
Yeah, I think my issue is everything off the field aside, Ezekiel Elliott is an incredible player.
Mm-hmm.
My problem with Amari Cooper is I'm not saying he's a bad player, but there's a reason why the Raiders were willing to trade him. He has had trouble with drops and not always rising to the top level of competition when he's faced against other top corners. And then you also have Dak, who again, I don't think anyone's saying Dak is Blaine Gabbert, but I also think there's that next tier of quarterback. He's not Deshaun Watson, he's not Pat Mahomes, he's not Russell Wilson, he's not any of those guys. So it's you have a bunch of B to B plus players that you're paying A plus players.
Yes.
And you keep trying to convince me that they're A plus players, and I just don't see it.
Yeah, I'm with you. If they weren't wearing a Cowboy star on the side of their helmet, would you view them the same? And I think the answer is no. I think Ezekiel Elliott, you would. I think you would.
Definitely with Zeke, and definitely.
And I think Tyron Smith, you would.
Yeah, Zach Martin.
Zach Martin as well.
Yeah.
Zach Martin as well. That line is not as dominant as the perception. And then we haven't even talked about the defense. Well, it has some really good players. It has some very notable holes that they're trying to fix. I don't know. I generally don't think, look, the Browns have a ton of talented named players. They couldn't win anything last year either.
Right,
coaching really matters. Cohesiveness really matters. Timeliness or lack of injuries really matters.
I guess where I tend to disagree is with what Troy says is very few coaches wouldn't trade their roster for what the Cowboys have. And I look at it and I go, okay, well, I would rather have what the Chiefs have. I would rather have what the Ravens have. I would rather have what the 49ers have.
Yes,
I would rather, and you all of a sudden you get to 6 or 7 teams and you're like, okay, so they're really not that good. They really don't have this roster.
I wouldn't say they're not that good. There's not a gap between them and most of the league.
Right. There's not
the Browns probably have just as good a talent as them. Right. The Browns do. Again, maybe not built the right way. They've tried to fix the offensive line, I understand. Look, I would tell you that Tampa is right there in terms of the level of talent. But that's the thing about the NFL is with the exception of a couple of teams, everybody's got players. It's only 32 teams. These are the best players on earth. Everybody's got players.
There's 3 or 4 at the top and 3 or 4 at the bottom that you're okay, those teams are really bad.
Right. And then look, and the Niners they've gone through some changes, right? And, Preston Buckner's gone. They go and draft his replacement, and they've made some adjustments there. But that's over years of being bad and drafting pretty well, and then bringing in the right pieces. So I'm with you. I do think we're doing this thing where we're massively overrating. We're either overrating the talent or we're underselling how Dak played at the most important times last year. And I would tend to think it's a little bit of both, but it's mostly we're overrating the talent. Going to next. Why is the NBA waiting until late July to come back? I'll ask Rick Bucher next. But first, a hacker group called Shiny Hunters, this is real, claims to have breached 10 companies now selling their user databases on the dark web marketplace for illegal products. The companies range from an online app food delivery are being sold for around $18,000. Identities. Norton 360 with LifeLock provides all-in-one work to fix it. No one can prevent all cybercrime and identity theft, but Norton 360 with LifeLock is a powerful ally for your cyber safety. Sign up today and save 25% or more off your first year by going to norton.com/Doug. That's 25% off. Norton 360 with LifeLock at norton.com/Doug. That's norton.com/Doug.
This is the Doug Gottlieb Show on Fox Sports Radio. We're cool. Does that make sense? Yeah, boy, we're in your face.
We knew it.
We're action-packed.
Let's get to it.
We're sports. Damn it, we're prima donnas. Do you know who we are?
I don't know. A lot of noise.
We are Fox Sports Radio.
Will Curry, Chief Strategy Officer at Pure Talk USA, is here to tell us how easy it is to switch to Pure Talk and save up to 50% on your monthly cellular service.
Pure Talk USA believes in being straightforward without any gimmicks. We're a no-contract wireless service with the same great coverage at half the cost of the other carriers. Our CEO and chairman is a U.S. Army veteran with over 30 years of telecom experience.
Tell us more about Pure Talk's plans.
We have plans starting at just $20 a month, including unlimited talk and text. Your plan just depends on how much data you need. We're so confident you're going to love Pure Talk USA, we offer a first month risk-free guarantee.
Well, it feels like it might be a big hassle to change carriers.
Switching is easy. You can even bring your own phone, or you can choose from one of our Apple or Android devices we have in stock. Plus, we offer free 2-day shipping on every order.
Go online or call now and use promo code SAVE50 to get 50% off your first month. That's promo code SAVE50 to get 50% off your first month. This report is sponsored by Napa Auto Parts.
In Saratoga Springs, it's all on the northway north and it exit 13 for Route 9, pretty much off onto the left shoulder. I just stay out of the left lane entirely. And road work continues in Albany on the thruway north and southbound between exit 23 and 24, one lane out in either direction. And be careful getting off 787 north and at exit 6 for Route 32, still some road work on the exit ramp. In the WGY Price Chopper Market 32 Traffic Center, I'm Susie Sterling.
With thousands of locally owned Napa stores across the nation, chances are that wherever you call home, they do too. So whether you stop by your local Napa Auto Parts store, a Napa Auto Care Center, or visit Napa online, you can count on Napa know-how.
For the ones we trust to always be there. For the ones caring for others. For the ones who keep things going, no matter where they are. In extraordinary times, extraordinary people step up, like the ones standing guard and standing on the front lines. And the ones who are staying apart while still working together. With your efforts, we will get through this. We're grateful for all you do. Visit Grainger.com for resources that can help as you create your recovery plan. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt, covering the coronavirus pandemic with facts over fear. In a time of crisis, turn to the most trusted TV news anchor in America.
I'm Lester Holt. Please take care of yourself and each other.
Spilled your pina colada? Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up spills and messes quicker. And it's 2 times more absorbent than the leading Ordinary brand. So you can get back to getting caught in the rain. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
How much money would you like to save just by doing something you're already doing? How about 40%? With Allstate, safe drivers can save 40% just by doing something they're already doing. Driving safe. That's right, 40% just by driving safe. Visit Allstate.com or call a local agent for a quote today and see just how much you can save when you drive safe with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Savings vary based on job wise and other safe driving discounts. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
The iHeartRadio app now has over 300,000 of the best podcasts from around the globe, making us #1 for podcasts. But making it super easy for you to find what you're looking for. Dive into just about anything.
It's effortless, man.
It's the best way to find new podcasts.
A new episode hits, but let me know right away.
I got it for radio, but I love podcasts, and I discovered that they have all of them.
They got it all.
iHeartRadio did it.
And of course, it's all free. Your music, your stations, and now #1 for podcasts.
iHeartRadio.
If there was ever a time to live united, it is now. Now is the time to speak with one voice, to build up, not tear down. It's time to join hands and live united against the problems that keep our communities from thriving. United Way fights for the health,
the, I'll give him a shout out, Floyd's Barbershop in Costa Mesa, opening back up. They're keeping the social distancing thing, and I got them all cut.
All right, yeah, good work. I got mine by Lisa. She asked if I wanted one more cut or should we go to the stylist. I said I'd do it.
You did a good job.
Oh,
I thought it looked like a professional cut.
Oh, good. I'll tell her thank you. I'll tell her the nice compliments, and thank you for the compliments. I may have promotion from Pelicans forward will have to answer questions in a lawsuit if he receives a 74 when the Rookie of the Year and MVP award in the same NBA season in 68-69, and then in 1978 won an NBA title and was named Finals MVP with the Bullets. Bears head coach Matt Nagy canceled player meeting. All news, Notre Dame Navy game scheduled for Ireland on August 29th will be moved to Annapolis, Maryland. On news in golf, following the cancellation of next month's John Deere Classic, the PGA Tour announced that they will play 2 straight events at Muirfield Village in Ohio. The first event will be sponsored by Workday and take place July 9th through the 12th. And then Jack's tournament, the Memorial, will take place at Muirfield.
Are you going to play both of them?
I'm not sure. He's played in Jack's.
Oh, it's Jack.
Yeah.
That's the one he's next to Torrey. That's where he won there 7 times, I think.
Yeah, Bay Hill is the other place where he dominates.
Well, Bay Hill, that's Arnie's course, right?
Yeah.
Jack's course is in Ohio. He's won there like 7 times. Then Torrey Pines. Those are the ones that he wins the most.
Yeah. So the tour will have back-to-back events at that course. The 2020 Formula One season will start next month with the Austrian Grand Prix on July 5th. South Carolina men's basketball coach Frank Martin says that he tested positive for COVID-19, but he has since recovered. He yelled at it a lot, it just went away. No, I shouldn't make jokes, but he is intense, but he is healthy as well, so that's good news.
He is one of the most genuine dudes in the sport. Frank Martin was a consistent coach at Miami Senior High School, which, you remember where we broadcast from at the Super Bowl? It feels so long ago. How long does the Super Bowl feel like, Dan?
Forever. Yes, like a year ago.
It did, really? Right? And anyway, so I don't know if you remember, but if you walked out, I don't know what door you would walk out. You'd walk out like you're,
no, there was a school, yeah.
That's Miami Senior High School.
Okay.
So it was a basketball powerhouse. And Frank Martin was like an assistant coach there. Shaky Rodriguez was the head coach. Anyway, I've known him forever. One of his players came and stayed with us two consecutive summers. He ended up going, I don't know his name, Fluke Miller. Fluke played for Indiana, played for Bob Knight, and I've been friendly with him. He was great to my dad ever since, but I'm glad that Frank's doing okay. Doug Gottlieb Show here rolls on Fox Sports Radio. Rick Bucher is our guest. Buch, let me first start with all of these protests. The Dolan Day.
Somewhere?
Yeah, go ahead.
You have 2 friends whose nicknames are Shaky and Fluke?
Fluke is and the governor of Illinois. We don't want Trump's National Guard here. Well, they need them. New York and by the way, there's a side note. Ari Fleischer had a tweet. Why is it that a New York governor thinks that they can override a New York City mayor, and why would a New York City mayor not want the National Guard in light of everything that's happening? All right, we'll get to all of this with Dr. Reverend Charles Christian Adams and Pastor Darrell Scott also coming up.
4:30 at News Radio 810 and 103.1 WGY. I'm Jim Gagliardi. Town of Colony officials extending the curfew that they put into effect last night. And it's official, Capital Region will enter Phase 2 tomorrow. Top stories in a minute. First, traffic and weather.
This report is sponsored by Star Roofing and Restorations. In Saratoga Springs, it's all on the Northway North and at exit 13 for Route 9, pretty much off onto the left shoulder. I just stay out of the left lane entirely. And road work continues in Albany on the Thruway North and southbound between exit 23 and 24, 1 lane out in either direction. And be careful getting off 787 North and at exit 6 for Route 32. Still some road work on the exit ramp. In the WGY Price Chopper Market 32 Traffic Center, I'm Susie Sterling.
That new roof you need? Now is the time to call Star Roofing, celebrating their 23rd anniversary this year. Call Star Roofing now and ask how you can get a free upgrade to a lifetime shingle roofing system with a 50-year extended warranty. Call 518-449-3422 or starroofing.net. WGY AccuWeather forecast. Tonight, cloudy, chance for showers, low 57. Tomorrow, cloudy, shower, thundershower around. A little warmer tomorrow. Wednesday afternoon, high near 80. Right now, 70 at News Radio 810 and 103.1 WGY. Town County officials within the past hour saying an emergency curfew will be in effect from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. each night from now until Sunday morning. During this time frame at night, county residents urged to stay home and off the streets. No unnecessary travel is permitted during this time frame. No person should be in a public place other than emergency personnel or those required to perform essential services. Governor Cuomo announcing the capital region cleared by international experts to begin phase 2 of reopening tomorrow. Cuomo saying the team of international experts has reviewed the numbers and information. The capital region confirmed to proceed phase 2 of begin tomorrow. The governor also talking today about civil unrest around the state, especially in New York City, where there were 700 arrests last night. He says the looting and vandalism, opportunistic behavior has nothing to do with the righteous indignation over the death of George Floyd at the hands of Minneapolis police. Cuomo says the lawbreakers are hurting their own communities. He also believes New York City police didn't do enough to stop them.
The police must stop the looting and the criminal activity. That is the essence of the police force. They are supposed to protect the community, protect the property. They did not do that in New York City last night.
Cuomo says state police and about 13,000 New York State National Guard members are prepared to respond to any city where they are needed. Counselor to the President, Kellyanne Conway, says a primetime address from President Trump may still be in the cards. In a Fox News interview, she said that remains an option. Some called for the President to address the nation after the death of George Floyd. Rally on Wall Street continues even after a week of protests, lootings, and violence. At the closing bell, the Dow up 268 points, NASDAQ up 56, S&P 500 gained 25. Basketball Hall of Famer Wes Unseld has died at the age of 74. Five-time NBA All-Star battled a number of illnesses, including pneumonia, over the past few years. WGY News Time 4:34. Our next update at 5. I'm Jim Gagliardi. For Sean Hannity in less than 3 minutes on News Radio 810 and 103.1 WGY. Capital Region's breaking news, traffic, and weather station.
This is what's happening.
The death of George Floyd is absolutely tragic.
White officer pressed his knee. Get the latest. This is a net of it. Black men here setting tricky and often buildings and structures on fire. News Radio 810 and 103.1 WGY.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson.
They're placed among the 16 seeds being deferred, and yet I don't see how it's not, unless you're throwing the Wizards in, and now you're taking both the Dallas Mavericks and the Memphis Grizzlies spot in the Western Conference. Well, the Dallas Mavericks have a much better record. Are you taking just the 8th seed, the Memphis Grizzlies spot? If you are, what this format's going to look like. But the bottom line is the vast majority of the teams are going to be playing exhibition games while the teams are playing the play-in games, whether it's one game or best of 3. And so you're going from exhibition games and training camp into playoff basketball.
Which is really hard. Really hard. That's not a 0 to 60, but that's like driving in the 35 and then hopping on the auto line.
Yeah. And soft tissue injuries, I don't know how you're going to be able to avoid them, because when you put the green playoff light on, and there's no holding back, and the intensity of those games is like nothing else. So that's why I think that they're giving this as long a runway as they can, because they know that there's no real, the logistics or figuring out how to play what would be considered regular season games. I mean, you can't make those games mean anything for the top seed. It's not going to be those games determine seeding. I mean, that would be totally unfair to a team like the Lakers, who put together play 60-plus games to have the number 1 seed in the Western Conference by 5.5 games, and now you're going to take Are you going to take these 5-7 games now and it's going to determine seeding? That wouldn't be good. So that's why they're going to try to extend this as long as they can, the lead up to the playoff games and trying to minimize the injuries.
I understand the injury risk, but like the best way to do it is get everybody back by Monday of next week. Get them going and get them to by July and start playing exhibition games then. Right? Like I don't get it. I understand the injury risk and injury concern, but I don't think people understand the unique window that you have and what could happen to the NBA playoffs and finals if they're going to coincide with the beginning of an NFL season and a college football season.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the other things too is there's a lot of again that are in terms of the personnel and the scheduling. Like there's you can work around the clock. They have so many things that they still have to figure out. How many, they're still determining the number of essential personnel for each team. And, so I feel as if they still need a lot of time to figure this out. And there's also the element that the longer someone being seriously, the greater chance that they're not going to have something happen that then causes them to have to say, oh, we gotta put a full stop on this. Because that's the one thing they absolutely do not want is get started and have something extraordinary happen where then they have to full flood again.
See, I always feel like it should work the opposite way, right? Where you get people down there because you know something at some point something's going to go wrong, and you kind of work through. All right, somebody's sick. All right, we move them away, and we figure out because somebody's going to pop up positive or pop up with the temperature or something, right?
Yeah, I would imagine. I mean, but then what's going to hold them out? What's you look at what the progress is.
As a president southbound side right at the Bronx River Parkway, watch for a crash there. I'm Tom Kaminsky in Shopper 880.
Forecast from Craig Allen calls for a cloudy night with some more showers. Overnight lows in the low 60s. Tomorrow, partly sunny, a lot warmer with some scattered showers and thunderstorms. High will be in the mid-80s tomorrow. Then Thursday, a slight chance of a thunderstorm late in the day. Otherwise, partly sunny Thursday with a high again up near 85. Right now, it's cloudy, 70 in Tarrytown, 74 in Port Washington, and 71 degrees here in Hudson Square at 4:39 at WCBS. Leaders in the Bronx are urging unity after looters struck there last night. WCBS's Steve Burns has more from Fordham Heights.
Jessica Betancourt arrived at her shop, Bronx Optical Center on Burnside Avenue, and found it unrecognizable.
The store is completely destroyed.
She's devastated, she says, to see violence in her own neighborhood.
We put hard work to make a difference in our community, and our hard work is not paying off.
Bronx District Attorney Darcel Clark says she fully supports peaceful protests.
But if you are going to decimate our communities and our businesses, we will not stand for that.
Clark doesn't want a repeat of the 1977 blackout, where she says looting in this same area set the neighborhood back decades.
There's a way to do this. Let's do this peacefully. Let's bring about the reforms that we need.
Sidewalks now are filled with young people sweeping glass and police guarding open storefronts. In Fordham Heights, Steve Burns, WCBS News Radio 8. At the news conference in the Bronx today, as Democratic Congressman Elliot Engel was demanding time to speak, he was caught on a hot microphone saying, "If I didn't have a primary, I wouldn't care." Engel was taking some heat for staying in Washington during the coronavirus pandemic. Viacom, CBS's entertainment and youth networks went dark for 8 minutes and 46 seconds last night. The amount of time a Minneapolis cop knelt on George Floyd's neck. Those channels had a black screen with a countdown clock and the words, "I can't breathe." Viacom CBS says it wanted to show its support for the Black Lives Matter movement and the fight against police brutality and racial inequality. A huge Confederate flag is no longer flying in Tampa.
That flag is 30 by 60 feet, and it flies, or flew that is, nearly 140 feet high at the park. It's near the junction of Interstates 4 and 75, just east of downtown Tampa. It belongs to the local chapter of the Sons of Confederate Veterans. It's been a flashpoint for years here in Central
comes down during hurricanes as a safety issue, but the organization's leader says they took it down now to, quote, lower the temperature and diffuse any problems. He says they don't want the flag to be an excuse for vandalism. Peter King, CBS News, Orlando.
Riot police in Paris fired tear gas to scatter protesters who held an illegal demonstration over the death of George Floyd. French authorities had banned the protest over concerns about the coronavirus spreading. Some protesters threw projectiles at the police officers. The closing numbers on Wall Street this afternoon, sponsored by T-Mobile from Business. A late surge pushed the Dow up 267 points. NASDAQ was up 56 and the S&P up 25. On more hopes that the economy can soon get going as more states reopen. Market Wrap-Up is sponsored by T-Mobile for Business. T-Mobile and Sprint are joining forces to power your business in more places than ever, all across the country. Visit T-MobileForBusiness.com to learn more.
Meet Chuck. Now, meet Chuck's personal information. Hello. Made up of things like account logins, bank info, and Chuck's social security number. Whenever Chuck shops, banks, and browses online, his info travels all over the world.
Bonjour. Ni hao. Привет.
Exposing it to cyber threats.
Well, that's no good.
So how is Chuck able to sleep? Because he knows Norton and LifeLock are now part of one company. Norton 360 with LifeLock provides an all-in-one membership for your cyber safety that gives you device security, identity theft protection, a VPN for online privacy, and more. No one can prevent all cybercrime and identity theft, but Norton 360 with LifeLock. Sign up today for Norton 360 with LifeLock.
We'll give the ability to pick the law enforcement agencies to under 2 days too. As American citizens, as people, most of us, I would say, and it's one thing I noticed, senseless, and brought them together. This is the dream because of the race. What the heck can we do to be a better job? No, there's a difference. Saying athletes, and so we've opinions, so stop being political. As wrong as that is, it's the same as saying you have to be political. It was the old Michael Jordan thing. You know, Michael Jordan, you play in the don't have to.
You and Joe, but today, what's going on in this country? Listen. I'm a son of my dad is Italian. He was born in Italy. My mom's Spanish and from Spanish, and I was born in South America. And my grandfather, God rest his soul, he was a prisoner of war, Italian prisoner of war. Democrat, Republican, because I haven't voted. I'm not gonna lie to you in a long time because I have to get up every morning to. Since all this stuff, since
You know, even if it's, like you said, something you don't agree with, or it's uncomfortable conversations, I think the most important thing is to listen. Because we all have our own experiences and our opinions. But sometimes our experiences are completely different. And I think what's going on right now is just a perfect example of it. I mean, when you hear about the fear that someone has, a person of color has, when they're walking down the street, they just may be pulled over just because of the color of their skin. Or they may be arrested because of the color of their skin. And you don't know what's going to happen upon that. You know, the worst Met losses the last 25 years. Roberts here in the
Nets basketball, along with a full slate of NFL action, happens here on your flagship station for Boomerang Geo, mornings 6 to 10. Moose and Maggie weekdays 10 to 2. Benito and Roberts, afternoons 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Mike Princessa at 6. And JJ After Dark at 7. And Radio on radio.com.
Hall of Famer Wes Unseld was passed away at the age of 74. It had
one in Houston, where George Floyd's funeral will be held next week. He was killed while in police custody in Minneapolis last week. But what happens in daylight has been changing once night falls. Life is moving on the streets at places like New York City. Mayor Bill de Blasio with this plea today. If you choose to protest against the Minneapolis Police Department over Floyd's death, one of the strongest civil rights to make
Northbound on York Avenue. We'll be keeping an eye on the FDR Drive here. That at this point is open. A lot of the southbound volume getting down toward that area of the 59th Street Bridge.
And we'll continue to cover these protests for you from the ground and from above right here on WCBS. We'll ask another note about that.
When I asked Mayor de Blasio whether he believes the National Guard,
do we think it's wise? Or decades go back to the 50s, 60s, or the civil rights movement on.
The Guard called up from anything. The mayor concluded that
NYPD and the leadership of the mayor.
The scope and damage of the looting and vandalism was stunning. Look at the video. Has declined. My option is as you stop rioting, governors, his criminals.
News time 5:07.
When they call term providers, speak with Big Lou at 800-777-9. They can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-777-1900-777-1970.
We head up to Chopper 80.
From the 59th Street Bridge is clear. York Avenue was shut first out on the FDR 59th Street Bridge and the FDR Drive.
Standing in Foley Square, where many of the peaceful protests have begun, the Reverend Al Sharpton called for an end to the violence.
All of us have to live in a police military state because of that.
And I'm extremely disappointed in those that have succumbed our rights in the name of what is going on.
He appeared with Gwen Carr, the mother of Eric Garner, and federal and city lawmakers who want to revive police reform legislation that would criminalize the kinds of chokeholds that contributed to Garner's and George Floyd's death. One of the bill's sponsors, Queens Councilman Donovan Richards, says a lack of action encourages a police culture of brutality and abuse.
We don't need officers to take a knee with us. We need them to keep their knees off our necks.
In Holy Square, Marla Diamond, WCBS News Radio 880.
New Jersey Attorney General Gurbir Grewal endorsed a statewide licensing program for police officers today.
Just as we license doctors, nurses, lawyers, hundreds of other professions, we must ensure that all officers meet a baseline level of professionalism. And we must ensure that those who cannot meet this standard can't work in New Jersey.
The state will utilize a new database to track the use of force by police officers. Grewal says it will be available by July 1st. The state attorney general also announced they are expanding New Jersey's crisis intervention team, the training for police to encourage de-escalation. Well, protests have been peaceful in Nassau County. WCBS's Sophia Hall heard from the county executive today.
I want to thank all of those who protested peacefully here in Nassau County.
Says Nassau County Executive Laura Curran after the many protests that have taken place here in the county. She also thanked the police department for keeping people safe. And
let's not let those who are criminally exploiting this pain and this moment, exploiting George Floyd and his family members who are pleading, begging for the violence and the looting to end. Violence against our police or against anybody will never be accepted in our county.
Sophia Hall, WCBS News Radio 880. WCBS News Time, 5:18. Time for traffic and weather together on the 8th. And with the view from above in Chopper 880, here's Tom Kaminsky.
Well, Linda, we go back over here to First Avenue and York Avenue, and now right in this area of 79th Street, we had this very large crowd, by one estimate, in the several thousand. Up First Avenue over to York Avenue. They made their way towards 79th Street, and I don't know whether the intent was to try to get onto the FDR Drive at that point, but they were met by a line of about 30 NYPD officers that have stopped them. So at this point, they have gone northbound on East End Avenue. Now, of course, at the top of that is Gracie Mansion. Whether or not that's going to be another destination, we will see. But at this point, the east side is very slow. First Avenue, York Avenue, we've had lanes blocked all over the place. The southbound side of the FDR is very heavy as we get from just about the RFK Bridge right on down for the 59th Street Bridge. We'll keep you posted here. If you're trying to get to the GWB on the northbound side, everything there is open and really not much of a delay getting up toward the outbound side of the George. We've got volume in Queens on the LIE, the Grand Central. We also have delays on the LIE right around Queens Boulevard. We had a crash there. I'm Tom Kaminsky in Chopper 880.
Traffic and weather sponsored by T-Mobile for Business.
T-Mobile and Sprint are joining forces to build the network that will cover more.
Let's get a check of our weather.
The clouds are coming back in. There will be additional showers, but not right now. The showers that we had earlier across the parts of Long Island as well as Connecticut are now over the east end of the island and drifting away. And nothing really much on radar to the west for now. However, later tonight a few showers will come back, 60 to 65. Tomorrow, a warm, humid afternoon with at least partial sunshine, similar sky condition to what we had today. Tomorrow evening, tomorrow's high in the middle 80s. Then clearing for Wednesday night, Thursday a mix of sun and clouds. It might not be as humid, but it's still upstorm late day, again 80 to 85. And Saturday goes the other way, starts with showers and thunderstorms through at least afternoon, and then partial clearing, and I still think we're up there in the 80s, low and middle 80s as we start the weekend. Right now 72, humidity 34%, and a southwest wind at 10.
WCBS News Time is 5:20. Well, as protests continue following the death of George Floyd, a huge Confederate flag is no longer flying in Tampa. We get more from CBS News correspondent Peter King.
That flag is 30 by 60 feet, and it flies, or flew that is, nearly 140 feet high at a park. It's near the junction of Interstates 4 and 75, just east of downtown Tampa. It belongs to the local chapter of the Sons of Confederate Veterans. It's been a flashpoint for years here in Central Florida. It usually comes down during hurricanes. hurricanes as a safety issue, but the organization's leader says they took it down now to, quote, lower the temperature and diffuse any problems. He says they don't want the flag to be an excuse for vandalism. Peter King, CBS News, Orlando.
And the mayor of Birmingham, Alabama, ordered a Confederate monument that was targeted by demonstrators protesting the death of George Floyd to be taken down in defiance of state law. The base of the 115-year-old Confederate Soldiers and Sailors Monument was covered with spray paint. Demonstrators also toppled a statue of Charles Lynn, a Confederate States Navy captain during the Civil War. Statue's removal defies the Alabama Monuments Preservation Act, which has been the subject of an ongoing court battle between the city of Birmingham and Alabama state officials. Well, the music industry will observe a global day of solidarity today to protest the police killing of George Floyd. CBS News correspondent Vicky Barker has more on Blackout Tuesday from London.
Here in Britain, a number of broadcasting outlets have altered their programming schedules to mark Blackout Tuesday. Multiple recording labels have answered the call to go silent today to create space for people here to reflect on George Floyd's death.
Organizers say the initiative is not a one-day event and a long-term plan of action will be announced soon. WCBS News Time, 5:22.
Balance of nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
I got really good hopes for it. I've tried to eat healthy, but there's no way I can get the nutritional equivalent in my diet that I get from my Balance of Nature. What you eat today determines the kind of cells your body's going to make tomorrow. Instead of eating, 15 pounds of vegetables, you can take this product. Now think in the future, from taking Balance of Nature, my body's going to be making a lot.
Over 10 servings of whole fruits and vegetables every day can do for you. Right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35%.com.
Right for horses.
The very green.
The grasses all year.
So we start supplementing with the hay and the grain. The green has a lot
of carotene, omega-3s, and
all of those nutrients that are lost when the grass becomes the hay. I like Dynamite. It's simple, it's straightforward. My horses get what they need. I can see immediate results.
Check out new Dynamite for horses at dynamite.com.
It doesn't take much, just one little scoop.
25. Time for Money News now, and from the Sunwave Gas and Power Business Desk, here's Bloomberg's Joan Doniger.
Well, Wall Street is not seeing reason right now to worry about the unrest that has gripped the nation, so the stock averages rose about a half to a little more than 1%. The Dow up 268 to 25,743. The Nasdaq added 56 to 9608. The S&P 29 to 3081. The Bloomberg WCBS Land Rover Tri-State Business Index ended the day 1 1/3% higher. Atlas Air shares leading gains there. Zoom video conferenced its way to a record last quarter. Record quarterly profits and sales grew by almost 170%. The Zoom CEO says people have integrated the company into their work, learning, and personal lives. Not necessarily in the New York City school system, though. It went with Microsoft Teams after those hacking incidents early on. Microsoft looking to supercharge the battle over business computing to sell products like Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. And you can add Apple, Spotify, and YouTube to the list of those companies joining Blackout Tuesday. With Money News at 25 and 55 on WCBS, I'm Bloomberg's Joan Doniger.
Perlmutter Cancer Center at NYU Langone Health is aware that many anxious cancer patients have been postponing appointments and procedures due to fear of going to the doctor's office. Your cancer testing, screening, and treatment should not be put on hold. At Perlmutter Cancer Center, all of our facilities have instituted strict guidelines to keep you safe, including personal protective equipment for anyone on site, temperature screening, frequent cleanings, less crowded spaces, and testing of all our staff. Patients can also access their Perlmutter Cancer Center physicians through video visits, and anyone with concerning symptoms can speak by phone or video with a member of our Suspicion of Cancer virtual clinic. Cancer hasn't stopped during this pandemic, and at Perlmutter Cancer Center, a leading ordinary brand. Seek out care without one thing.
This report liable together on the 8th up in Chopper 880. What are you seeing there, Tom Kaminsky?
We are still seeing this very large crowd here on the east side on East End Avenue at 86th Street. That is where the line of march at this point has stopped. on York Avenue and even back on First Avenue, back toward the area of the 59th Street Bridge, although it appears as though any restrictions around that area of the 59th Street Bridge have been lifted because it's quite a bit better now on the southbound side of the FDR drive through there. Northbound Route 287 at Route 78, we have a crash in the left lane. We also had a separate collision on the eastbound side of 78, the ramp to Route 287. That has now been cleared away. And Tom Quincy and Shopper 880 here comes Craig with the forecast.
We have a mostly cloudy sky for tonight and a few showers around overnight with lows between 60 and 65. Right now, there's just a light shower left over east of Riverhead and on the South Fork mainly, and moving on out into the water. There's not very much for the next several hours. Later tonight, again, there could be a shower. Tomorrow, partly sunny, much warmer. Highs getting into the middle 80s. A little cooler along the coast, though, and humid, too. And there will be scattered showers and thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening. A couple of those could be heavy. Wednesday night, partial clearing with lows staying in the 60s. And Thursday, a mixture of sunshine and clouds. A slight chance of a thunderstorm for late Thursday or Thursday night, 80 to 85. And the prolonged spell of 80-degree plus weather is likely to continue right to have below normal temperature per hour. Tonight's
CBS deployed in the city today. Several protests on 96th Street and the and Joe Biden slams President Trump. Their last news time is 5.
About 2 hours, and it is impressive here. Weaving in as it makes its way through. That is similar in size. Now, in terms of the message here, it continues to be a message of frustration over what happened with George Floyd, calls for reform when it comes to police brutality, and there's also over the let's say this is also an embodiment of New York, because as we've gone through the entire length of Manhattan now, we have gone through neighborhoods in front of night shift buildings, in front of upscale luxury homes, and you see everyone out in their windows cheering this group on. You've seen drivers who would be frustrated under any other circumstances to be caught up in something like this, causing an appreciation. So just a very powerful movement that once this comes through, and now here at the end, we've seen some other scenes of anger shouted at police, and there's been some of that during this demonstration, during this march. But here at the end, they're down on a knee. Thousands, tens of thousands, down on a knee here at the end. So a very powerful demonstration making its way through here in Manhattan with us.
We had heard Tom Kaminsky say before from above he could see some protesters at one point by 79th had maybe tried to go onto the FDR Drive, but were met by a line of police. Did you get to observe any of that?
I did, and there was a line of about maybe 40 to 50 officers blocking off some of the entrances to the FDR, and I can tell you that if they wanted to make their way on there, they would have, because there's just that many people, and there's not enough police officers out here to even try to. There hasn't been the shouting, there hasn't been those flashpoints. Instead, when these demonstrators have gotten here, they've made it an effort to demonstrate that they've been peaceful and continue to be.
That's our WCBS reporter, Kevin Rincon, right in the thick of it, in the middle of the protests on the east side of Manhattan. WCBS News Time is 5:34. Mayor de Blasio has announced that a citywide curfew from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. has been extended through the week in the aftermath of a second night of looting and violence. Does the mayor believe the city and the NYPD need help to quell the situation? WCBS reporter Rich Lamb joins us now, and he got a direct answer on that from the mayor at today's briefing. How did that come about, Rich?
Well, I got into the queue and I asked the mayor directly whether he believes the National Guard will be activated, Linda, and whether, given the situation, the city needs their numbers. The mayor was unequivocal. His words now, "We do not need, nor do we think it's wise for the National Guard to be in New York City." The mayor went further, saying, "The officers of the NYPD have been trained incessantly to act with restraint." But he noted a member of the National Guard called up from any part of the state doesn't have that particular training, doesn't know our environment, but is carrying a loaded...
What did the mayor have?
He said to some extent video that in mid-test he didn't...
Their world-class systems, digital...
You are not...
For many of the people that we serve, it's a pain that by its very nature can be isolating, that can make people feel alone. And so when we have the chance to stand with our client, you or someone close to you,
38 traffic in West weather together on the 8th. We go up to Chopper 880. Tom Kaminsky keeping an eye on the protesters that are moving through Manhattan.
And they've moved through Manhattan and gotten to the point where they are now on East End Avenue in 15 to 20 minutes. Not moving yet. Now, of course, 2 blocks north of that is Gracie. They may have wanted to get onto the FDR Drive at 79th Street. They were met by a line of about 30 police officers that have blocked that entrance ramp. So at that point, the only place to go is to make a left turn onto East End Avenue where they are right now. So we'll keep an eye on all of that. Now, elsewhere, outbound side, Lincoln, Holland, GWB, really not bad. We've had the Queens Boulevard had an earlier.
Could see a few showers, and it will be humid. High in the mid-80s, cooler along the coast for Thursday. A mix of sun and clouds. There's a slight chance of a thunderstorm later in the day, but it won't be quite as humid, and the high near 85 again. Right now in Manhattan, cloudy skies, it's 72 degrees. WCBS News Time is 5:40. Well, speaking on the Senate floor this morning, Minority Leader Chuck Schumer slammed President Trump for driving peaceful demonstrators away from the White House yesterday with tear gas and rubber bullets in order to stage what Schumer called a photo op at St. John's Episcopal Church while holding a Bible.
The fear for the future of our country, and in this time of immense difficulty, our president is only capable of contributing more division, more fear, more chaos.
Schumer says the Defense Department Inspector General should probe the treatment of protesters outside the White House. Meanwhile, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says she'll act quickly to pass legislation on police brutality and racial profiling. And New York Congressman Jerry Nadler says he'll hold hearings to formulate ideas.
We will be carefully evaluating a wide range of strong proposals with the goal of putting smart, effective, and targeted legislation on the House floor.
And people continue to express their outrage over the death of George Floyd at rallies and protests across the country. Minnesota State House Speaker Melissa Hortman spoke at a rally in St. Paul saying an unjust system should be dismantled.
It is my job to first listen, second stand back and create space for leadership to come from the voices and the people of color.
Now, the state of Minnesota has filed a civil rights charge against the Minneapolis Police Department in George Floyd's death. 6 Atlanta police officers are facing excessive use of force charges amid protests. CBS News correspondent Jim Krasula has that story.
Fulton County District Attorney Paul Howard says 6 police officers have been charged in an excessive use of force incident.
We reviewed 7 different body-worn cameras, and we also looked at one illegal clip.
A dramatic video showed the police tasing and pulling 2 college students from a car during protest Saturday night. The young people were shaken but not badly injured. Jim Krasula, CBS News.
WCBS News Time, 5:41.
I've always wanted to learn another language, but every time I try, it never sticks. So I decided to give Babbel a try, and I really like the teaching method of the app. I started with the beginner lesson on Babbel, and it starts with simple words and phrases, and soon you're putting those words into a conversation. Each lesson takes about 10 to 15 minutes, and they're all really different, which keeps things interesting. The app is really smart. It actually keeps track of the words and struggle skills in the real world. Dos cervezas, por favor.
With Babbel, get conversational in Spanish, French, German, and more. It just takes 10 to 15 minutes a day. Now try Babbel free. Just go to Babbel.com or download the Babbel app and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
If you have cancer or suspect you may have cancer, don't let your fear of COVID-19 take over. Our commitment to cancer care and patient safety remains our top priority. Our cancer team is taking special precautions to protect patients, including temperature screening, universal masking, physical distancing, and rigorous cleaning of all our facilities. Hackensack Meridian Health nurses are available by phone or by video visit. Please call 551-996-5855 to connect with the care you need.
Optimum is committed to keeping everyone connected, so they are rolling back the price for Optimum's Altice Mobile to just $20 a month to help you connect to family, work, school, anywhere and everywhere with unlimited data, talk, and text on a nationwide network with 99% coverage. I'm really happy with the service. It's reliable and affordable at just $20 a month. Restrictions, see Altice Mobile / in all
types of conditions, and with the most free services for life. Plus free services for life, nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. I feel like I'm being haunted by a pair of headphones. Everywhere I go is a creepy headphones. Go.
You're never more than 15 minutes from the big stories on WCBS.
Good afternoon. I'm Linda Lowe. Tonight, once the curfew begins, there will be no residents, buses, and essential worker George Floyd. Steve Burns was on the streets last night in Manhattan, and today he's in the Bronx, and he joins us. Steve, what is the scene like in the Bronx?
People, really, a lot of young people. To clean up, sweep up shards of glass. Volunteers are handing out water. Really a coordinated effort to try to show the best of this community after it saw the worst last night. There's also a lot of police officers standing guard in front of stores that got hit. Haven't started to patch things up yet. And her shop was destroyed. She got where, I would look around on Broadway and Herald Square, shattered glass everywhere, alarms going off inside shops, garbage cans on fire, just, felt like I was in a completely different world. It was surreal. I'd say the police were much more reactive than proactive last night. They were kind of speeding up and down these streets trying to get to the next hotspot, while a handful of looters were still going through some of these stores. We're talking with some of the city's most well-known shopping areas on 5th Avenue around Rockefeller Center. Saw a souvenir shop along 7th Avenue that had its front window completely shattered. Inside was a 10-foot Statue of Liberty, and she was missing her torch along with her entire right arm. That, really said it all to me.
Steve, tell us, is there any hope among community leaders that these coming nights are going to turn out any differently?
There is some cautious optimism, some hope that the NYPD maybe did a few things and might be better prepared. Bronx Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr. showed up here. He was asked that same question. He said the Bronx getting hit was entirely unexpected since there wasn't any larger protest or gathering before they started getting reports of looting here. He said police officers are getting dispatched all across the borough to different shopping districts tonight, hopefully to head off any more bad actors.
WCBS reporter Steve Burns, who's been out for days covering these protests for us. And WCBS News time is 5:48. It's time for traffic and weather. Together on the 8s, over to Chopper 880 and Tom Kaminsky.
And we've had delays on the Belt Parkway, westbound side getting in toward Rockaway Parkway. Had an earlier collision there. Just getting a look here at the west side highway. That is in actually very good shape here from 12th Avenue right up toward the outbound side of the GWB. Now the northbound FDR Drive is also good as we get into the 50th. Again, not bad up through the RFK Bridge and up toward the GWB. That's the northbound side. The southbound side is not nearly as good. Around that area, the 59th Street Bridge and the inbound side has been exceptionally heavy. We had some very heavy police presence there a little earlier on. Most of that is now eased up, but we still have the main demonstration rallying point still in the right on East End Avenue at 86th Street, just 2 blocks south of Gracie Mansion. We're actually making our way back over to that spot to see what has transpired there. We've had delays in Queens on the eastbound LIE getting out through the fairgrounds, getting into Nassau County on an earlier collision at Queens Boulevard. I'm Tom Kaminsky in Shopper 880.
Traffic and weather together is sponsored by T-Mobile for Business.
T-Mobile and Sprint are joining forces to build the network that will cover more offices and employees across the country. You will get the largest and most reliable network at an unbeatable price. Visit T-MobileForBusiness.com to learn more.
Let's check our weather forecast now. Here's meteorologist Chris.
Mix of sun and clouds with just a slight chance of a thunderstorm late day or Thursday night. 80 to 85. Stay connected with the Altis 5-day forecast. Friday is sunny to partly cloudy with a thunderstorm late day or at night. 80 to 85. And Saturday starts with showers and thunderstorms, followed by partial clearing in the afternoon, and it's still up there around or a little above 80. 72 again right now, humidity 34%.
WCBS News Time is 5:50. Joe Biden is blasting President Trump after last night's photo op at a church. CBS News correspondent Bill Rakoff joins us now with more. Bill, what did Biden have to say about the president?
Well, Linda, Biden is adding on to the criticism coming from the Democrats and even some Republicans about the president's order to clear out Lafayette Park yesterday evening before the curfew using smoke bombs, potentially tear gas and rubber bullets. Biden's saying from a speech at City Hall in Philadelphia that he said basically when peaceful protesters were dispersed in order for the president just to stage a photo op, he says you can be forgiven for believing that the president is more interested in his power than in his principle, and says, the presidency is a duty to care about all of us and not just our voters, saying that the president was really going after his base with that walk across the park to stand in front of St. John's Episcopal Church with a Bible yesterday evening.
And what did Biden have to say about the George Floyd protests?
Well, he said, it's a peaceful protest. He acknowledged the fact, like others have, that there are people in there that are trying to hijack those protests and turn them violent. But he says, the people had a right to be in that park. They had a right to be there. Again, calling the protest peaceful. Now he's actually focusing some of his attention as well on Congress. He's calling on them to enact reforms that would address racial inequality and saying, there've got to be some police reforms coming from the legislative level. And he says if he's elected, it's one of the first things he's going to ask Congress to do.
Is there anything in Congress happening on that now?
Just a lot of speechifying. Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, today condemned the president for, again, clearing the protesters out of the park. She quoted the book of Ecclesiastes saying that, to everything, there's a time, for love, there's a time for war. She says this is a time for healing and called on the president to take part in that. Across the other side of the Capitol, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer there in New York blistered the president today, saying that he was more interested in his base and making himself look good for a photo op. And again, that's a line that's being used by Democrats pretty much across the board.
And CBS News correspondent Bill Rakoff with the latest from Washington. WCBS News Time 5:53.
Memories make us laugh and cry, and sometimes cringe when we look back at our fashion choices. But in between flashbacks of bowl cuts and dad jeans, our memories are fading, and so is the old media that holds them. Hi, I'm Adam Baselogger.
And I'm Nick Mako, and we're the founders of Legacy Box.
Legacy Box is the easiest and safest way to preserve your family memories.
Here's how it works. Fill Legacy Box with your outdated media. We professionally digitize and send them back on DVDs, thumb drive, or the cloud.
Look, those forgotten home movies, VHS tapes, film reels, and photos are degrading right before your eyes.
Experience peace of mind and enjoy reliving the glory days. Join more than 500,000 families who have already trusted Legacy Box.
Save your memories today. Visit legacybox.com/gift. And for a limited time, get 40% off your order. That's legacybox.com/gift for 40% off. legacybox.com/gift.
Foot odor throwing you off your game? Stick to a winning game plan with Odor Eaters, featuring 3 advanced odor and wetness fighters. The lineup provides long-lasting odor control, plus more to keep your feet on their game. Odor Eaters powder provides outstanding moisture control. Clear Drying Spray is the MVP in preventing athlete's foot, while insoles work continuously to manage wetness while adding a layer of comfort. Pick up today at Walmart, Target, CVS, Dollar General, or other fine retailers. Odor Eaters, destroy foot odor with the best in odor defense.
At CDW, we get putting productivity within reach of remote employees.
That's why I'm WFC, working from couch and moving everything within arm's length, like a microwave. Lunchtime.
You should talk to the experts at CDW. They can orchestrate a more efficient workspace solution using light, powerful devices from Lenovo to keep your teams productive from anywhere, couch included.
Yeah, but do they have that?
IT orchestration by CDW. People who get it. Learn more at cdw.com/Lenovo client.
WCBS News Time is 5:55. Time for Money News now. Checking the numbers on Wall Street. The Dow was up 267 points today to close at 25,742. The S&P 500 rose 25 points. It closed at 3080. The Nasdaq was up 56 points at the close to close at 9608.
Time now for Staying Healthy, brought to you by Jag1 Physical Therapy. Here's CEO John Gallucci Jr.
If you're having difficulty getting to one of our local offices in New York, New Jersey, or Pennsylvania, we now have teletherapy. Please feel free to call up one of our local offices of Jag1 Physical Therapy and set up your teletherapy visit. Or you can visit us on the web at jag1pt.com. That's JAGONEPT.com. And follow the prompts to set up your teletherapy visit today. Again, that's jag1pt.com.
Jag1 Physical Therapy, the most awarded physical therapy provider in New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania, serving you in their office or in your home. Jag1 will do whatever it takes to get you back to the life you love. Set up your office visit or teletherapy session today. Call your nearest Jag1 Physical Therapy office or go to jag1pt.com. That's jag1pt.com.
Is that a faucet running? That's not a faucet. That's a river rushing through the forest. Forest rivers.
From the west and one team from the east, because there's only one team within 6 games in the Eastern Conference, and that's the Washington Wizards, who are 24-40. And let's be honest, the only reason they invite the Washington Wizards